What's up, everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to Get Hit with the Truth. So today we are doing the Champions Report, as we are going to discuss the WBO title from 122 pounds all the way to heavyweight, the 12 divisions. We will update you on all the belts and the champions that hold those belts, and what any news I've heard or fights that are coming up, and give predictions before the next one, which is in 2 months. I do my Champions Reports at the end of every even month. So at the end of June, you will get another Champions Report on all belts. This one again is on the WBO, the World Boxing Organization, and we are going to start at 122. But before we do, if you guys could smash the like button, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, I appreciate any and all support as I try to build my page. And if you don't like what I'm doing, you can give me a thumbs down, or you can leave a comment letting me know why. Excuse me. So let's get rolling on the 122-pound division. The WBO champion there is the undefeated reigning WBO and Unified champion, Stephen Fulton Jr., who also holds a WBC title. Well, Stephen Fulton, we know his fight got canceled for May, or got postponed with Naoya Inoue, and now the two have rescheduled. They will fight July 25th on ESPN. That's a Tuesday, as he goes to Japan to fight Inoue and defend his 2 belts against him, the Monster Inoue for the Unified titles in Inoue's home country. Now, I'm not going to give a prediction on the fight until the June Champions Report, the end of June Champions Report. So just letting you know that, but that fight is coming. It's a big one. Can't wait to see it. July 25th, Fulton and Inoue. 126 pounds, featherweight. The champion there is, Jesus, I'm drawing a blank for some reason. It is newly crowned champ Robesai Ramirez. Robesai Ramirez captured the title on April 1st when he outboxed and outworked a tough, rugged former champion in Isaac Dogbe. I thought Ramirez was going to dominate this fight better than he did. I thought he was going to stop Dogbe, but Dogbe showed his will and his heart, really fought like a champion, but it wasn't enough, as Robesai Ramirez, the very talented fighter, outboxed him and outclassed him. And now Ramirez is returning already on an ESPN undercard. I believe that's taking place in June, I want to say. God, I can't remember which card it was on. I just saw it. I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank. But he's taken on an opponent that he should dominate. He's heavily favored over. So it's kind of a stay busy, initial defense. So congratulations to him on capturing the title, and I'm looking forward to seeing that defense. But again, I believe that defense is taking place in June, so I'll give my prediction on that fight at the next Champions Report. 130 pounds, super featherweight. The champion there is Emmanuel Navarrete, the reigning champ. Navarrete, as we know, captured the belt in February when he stopped Liam Wilson to capture the vacant title at 130. We've done a Champions Report since then. What we do know is that Oscar Valdez is going to be rematching Adam Lopez on the Devin Haney, Vasily Lomachenko undercard on May 20th. And then it's proposed that Valdez and Navarrete will clash for the WBO super featherweight title later on this year, probably during the summertime, late summer. That's not written in stone yet, but that's what the direction is looking like. Hopefully by the end of June, that fight is set in stone, or we at least know around the time period when that fight's going to take place. 135 lightweight. The WBO champion there is the reigning WBO and undisputed champion, Devin Haney, who holds all 4 major titles at 135 pounds. We know Devin Haney is returning Saturday, May 20th in the main event of an ESPN Plus pay-per-view card when he defends the WBO and undisputed title against former 3-division champion and former unified lightweight champion Vasily Lomachenko. Great fight taking place on May 20th. Can't wait to see this one. I think it's going to be very good, and I am picking Vasily Lomachenko to defeat Devin Haney to regain the WBO title and become the undisputed lightweight champion. But I do believe Devin Haney has a real shot to pull this one out. I think he's the betting favorite going in, actually. So I'm actually in the minority that thinks that Lomachenko is going to win, but should be good. Saturday, May 20th, ESPN Plus pay-per-view. Haney versus Lomachenko for the undisputed lightweight championship of the world. 140. 140 junior welterweight. The reigning and undefeated champion there is Josh Taylor. Taylor, we know, returns Saturday, June 10th on ESPN in the main event, as he will make a mandatory defense against former unified lightweight champion Teofimo Lopez. This is a big fight for both men right here, taking place on June 10th. I believe it's a fight that can go either way, but I am confident in my pick that I believe Josh Taylor is going to defeat Teofimo Lopez that night. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if Lopez pulls off the win. I think it's a very good matchup, but I think given the way the fights have been going for Lopez his last couple times out, actually ever since even the win over Lomachenko, he hasn't been his old dominant self, and I believe that Josh Taylor, his size and his skill set, is going to defeat Teofimo Lopez. But again, I think Lopez is a very live underdog, and it could go either way. Saturday, June 10th, ESPN. Next up, 147 pounds, welterweight. The reigning and undefeated champion there is Terrence Bud Crawford. What we know is that Crawford and Errol Spence, the unified champion who holds the other 3 title belts at 147, that they are back in serious discussions for their proposed undisputed title clash. Now, nothing has been set in concrete yet. There was rumors about a June 17th bout. Crawford said that was not true. Steven Espinoza, the director of Showtime, the main guy, the president of Showtime, has come out and said that the fight is close, but it was close before. It is not done until it's done. And right now, we do not, we're up in the air still. I am optimistic that this fight is going to get made, but I believe it's going to get made for after the next Champions Report, which takes place at the end of June. And, but I'm very, very much hoping by the next Champions Report that we are discussing and predicting who is going to win this fight, and that it is going to happen. And I really, really hope that it does. Because, and I'm going to mention another comment, there was talks that it was going to be Crawford making a mandatory defense against Alexis Rocha, and that fight has fallen to the wayside now because of the negotiations, the serious negotiations between Crawford and Spence again. So I'm hoping that means something. 154, super welterweight. The reigning WBO and undisputed champion is Jermell Charlo. Now, Charlo was supposed to fight way back in January and a mandatory defense against against Tim Tszyu, son of Kostya Tszyu. That fight didn't happen. Tszyu, in March, took on Tony Harrison in an optional defense of his interim title, and he defeated Tony Harrison. Actually, I think the interim title was on the line that night, and he defeated Tony Harrison to claim the interim belt. And now a proposed summer showdown seems to be postponed and pushed further back with Charlo in a mandatory challenge. So Tszyu has already requested to fight like in June, but nothing has come from that for the interim belt. But I believe we are going to know sometime soon on Charlo and when that proposed fight, the area between him and Tszyu, is going to take place. I'm hoping that we know by the next Champions Report when that could be happening or it will be finalized. So we'll see. Hopefully we know by the next Champions Report. 160, middleweight. The reigning and undefeated champion there is Kazakh style Janibek Alimkhanuly, who is, we know, is going to be returning May 13th to take on, God, is it Steve Rolls? I think it's Steve Rolls, but don't hold me to that. No, it's Stephen Butler from Canada. I'm sorry. Yeah, He's going to be defending his title against him. Butler's a former world title challenger that fought Ryota Murata years ago, and Murata dominated him with a 5th round TKO to retain the WBA middleweight title at the time. This is Alan Cannuli just staying busy because the man that they ordered to challenge him was former 154-pound champion Liam Smith, who is fresh off his win over Chris Eubank Jr. But a rematch with Chris Eubank was put on the table, an automatic rematch clause, and Smith and Eubank are fighting again now, also in May. So Alan Cannuli is staying busy ahead of a proposed showdown with the winner of that fight, or a proposed unification bout with the winner of the Esquiva Falchao and to be determined opponent for the vacant IBF title. And the reason I say that's a possibility is because Falchao is also an ESPN top ranked guy like Janibek Alan Cannuli. But my prediction on Kazakh Style versus Stephen Butler is that Kazakh Style will dominate the action, dominate the fight, and I think he's going to get Butler out of there in the early to middle rounds, as he will retain his WBO middleweight championship. That's May 13th on ESPN. 168 super middleweight, the WBO and undisputed reigning champion is Canelo Alvarez, who holds the WBO and all 4 major world titles at 168. He will be making a WBO mandatory defense and also defending his other 3 belts against WBO interim champion John Ryder of the United Kingdom. This fight's taking place May 6th on DAZN pay-per-view, and it's taking place in Canelo's home country of Mexico. Marking the first time he's fought there in years. I believe Canelo is going to win this fight by knockout in the middle to later rounds, as he will retain his WBO and undisputed championship. I think Ryder is somewhat of a live underdog. I think Canelo's should be a heavy favorite, but don't count Ryder out. He's a tough guy, and we'll see what he's made of on Saturday, May 6th on DAZN pay-per-view. That was 168. 175 light heavyweight. The reigning WBO and unified light heavyweight champion is Artur Beterbiev. He holds the WBA and IBF belts, 3 of the 4 major world titles besides the WBO, and it's kind of up in the air on what Beterbiev is going to be doing next. We know that a proposed undisputed title showdown with Bivol is either going to happen without it being for the undisputed title, or it's not going to happen, period. The reason I say if it happens, it won't be for undisputed, because the WBC will not sanction a fighter from Russia because of the conflict between the Ukraine and Russia. And Dmitry Bivol is technically from Russia. So they will not sanction a fight with a Russian fighter right now, sadly. But I honestly believe that Beterbiev is likely going to be making defending all 3 belts against his WBC mandatory challenger and former super middleweight champion Callum Smith next. I believe that because I still think that Canelo and Bivol is going to get made for September, and Bivol is not going to fight Beterbiev before he fights Canelo in a rematch. Now, that could all get thrown out, because what we do know is that Bivol wants to fight Canelo at 168 for his super middleweight title, and Canelo says he wants to fight again at 175, so people do not criticize him for having Bivol come down to 168. So a lot of moving pieces here. I think we're going to get some answers by the end of May, and I'm hoping by the next Champions Report we know when Artur Beterbiev is going to be defending his unified light heavyweight title next. 200 cruiserweight. The reigning and undefeated champion there is Lawrence Okolie. Okolie returned in March and defended his WBO title against mandatory challenger and undefeated David Light. He dominated David Light over 12 rounds to a workmanlike 12-round decision. He is already set to return on Saturday, May 27th, where he will defend his WBO title against Chris Billum Smith, also the United Kingdom. I personally think Okolie is going to win this one in dominating fashion. I think he'll stop Billum Smith in the middle to later rounds, or he will score a convincing unanimous decision. But Willem Smith, I do think is a live underdog. I just think Okoli is on a different level. Again, Saturday, May 27th. I don't know if that's going to be on DAZN or ESPN. I really don't know. We'll see what happens, but I think he's going to get the victory on May 27th. And finally, heavyweight. The WBO and reigning unified champion is Alexander Usyk. Usyk also holds the WBA Super and the IBF Heavyweight Championship along with his WBO title. What we do know is that the fight with Tyson Fury for the undisputed title has fallen to the wayside. It's not happening next. That's locked in. But so he has moved on to a proposed mandatory showdown against WBA regular champion Daniel Dubois of the United Kingdom. He also works with Top Rank, but this fight has been ordered by the WBA to happen. Right now, the negotiations aren't really going well between the two sides from what I'm hearing. So the fight could be going to a purse bid to make the fight happen. But it looks very likely that Usyk will be fighting Dubois next. We don't yet know as to when. I would assume probably in July because the fight still has not been done. So I'm going to say July, August area. That's my belief on when this fight will take place. But we will find out. And if it does get announced and for some reason takes place prior to that, I think Usyk will defeat Daniel Dubois by a convincing decision or potentially stop him in the later rounds. But that fight has not gotten made yet, and I believe that fight is not going to happen before the next Champions Report. So that is it. That's what I got. That is the WBO Champions Report on all titles from 122 to heavyweight for the World Boxing Organization. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, smash the like button, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate any and all support. This is True Boxing. 1 second. You've been here with the truth.